is a beautiful, beautiful Thursday afternoon. It is TitleTown Throwdown a couple hours earlier than I normally go on. Yes, I know. But Nick, don't you go on at 7? Yes, I don't on at 7, but special circumstances, we are here live at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. All right, a lot to get to, a lot to unpack. The Bruins, and they're falling a little bit. The Bruins are falling. The Celtics are back up on the rise. So it's starting to become a tale of two different weeks. One Boston team sinking, the other one continues to shoot up. And now it's vice versa. The other Boston team that was upwards is now downwards, and the team that was downwards is now going upwards. It is a absolute cluster of what is going on here in Boston sports. I do want to start off with the Bruins. The Bruins, they're a little concerning at the moment. All right, this team a couple weeks ago, they are on top of the Eastern Division, or I should, my apologies, National Hockey League, atop of the Mass Mutual Division. And now they went from the top spot down to 4 and in danger. Right now, if the season were to end tonight, Bruins lose tonight, Philadelphia wins, or vice versa, the Bruins would be on the outside looking in. Because the top 4 teams in each division qualifies for the playoffs. So if the playoffs were to start tonight, the Boston Bruins would be the 4th team coming out of the Mass Mutual Eastern Division, and they would play the New York Islanders in the first round of the playoffs. And have the Bruins been able to beat the Islanders this year? No. Why? Beats me. Why don't you ask the head coach Bruce Cassidy? Why? Or better yet, ask Captain Patrice Bergeron, or alternate captain Brad Marchand, or hell, even ask David Krejci, who has been an absolute ghost out there. And this is a consistent problem with David Krejci, okay? Because here's a guy like David Krejci who is who is most likely your second best winger on the entire team. And he can't even find the back of the net. Granted, Jake DeBrusk can't find the back of the net either, but still. The lack of secondary scoring on this team is absolutely mind-boggling, and I blame General Manager Don Sweeney. And he comes out and say, we need more secondary scoring. Really, Don? Where the hell was the secondary scoring last year? Where was it the year before? Where was it the year before that? Where was it the year before that when you took over for what's his name? Peter Chiarelli. You say you want to do this, and that, and you haven't done squat, dude. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Since Bruce Cassidy took over, you fired Claude Julien. Since Bruce Cassidy took over, the Bruins scoring has gone up. Yes. But then you get into these little peaks and valleys where the scoring is not there. Then the defense is... Your last trip to New York, between the Islanders and the Rangers in 2 games after Lake Tahoe, you got outscored 13-4. He gave up 7 goals to the Islanders, and he gave up another 6 to the New York Rangers, who are still in rebuilding mode. Like, seriously? Now look, can the same be said for Rask and Halak? Both, are both of them really been on their game a lot lately? No, but both guys are keeping you in the damn games. So what do the Bruins need to do? Shoot on net! Like, oh my lord, this Bruins team, the Bruins are a team in which you love them. You absolutely love them to death, but you also want to punch each and every one of them in the face because they can't shoot on net. Like what's so hard? Just put the puck on net. If it gets saved, it gets saved, but at least attempt to take a shot. It is my modeling. Myself, other friends I know, my dad is a big hockey nut. Every single night, yelling at the TV saying, shoot the puck, shoot the puck, shoot the puck. And what do? Dip, dunk, dip, dunk, dip, dunk, dip, dunk. Stop it, Bruins. Just shoot the damn puck on the. It's an 8x10 opening. You're telling me you can't hit at least one by one of the part of that? It just takes that much for the puck to go, and it's only like the puck's not that big. It's like 4 inches high and like less than a foot long. You're telling me you can't put that in a 1x1 square above the goalie's shoulder? Here's the top of the net. Here's his head. Here are openings. But no. Now, here's the goalie's pads. Here's the bottom of the net. It's where the Bruins shoot the damn puck. So, again, Bruins are 4th in the Eastern Division. 6 points behind the Islanders, 4 points behind the Capitals, 1 point behind the Penguins. 1 point ahead of the Flyers, who are in 5th. Then you got the Rangers at 23. You got the Devils at 19, and you got the Buffalo Sabres at 16. Don't worry about the Sabres or the Devils. Both of those teams are, well, okay. Devils have had your numbers so far this year. You haven't even played Buffalo yet, so there's another factor. You know, Buffalo is an automatic win 9 times out of 10. The only way Buffalo gets to win is that they have to catch a team on an off night, and that's rare for this Buffalo team. And you could put the Sabres up in the North Division with the Jets who are fluttering, with the Canucks who are fluttering, with the Canadians who are up and down, the Maple Leafs who are up and down, the Oilers and Flames go back and forth. You could put the Sabres up in the North Division of those teams, and the Sabres would still be last because the Ottawa Senators would kick their butts, and the Senators absolutely are absolute dog water. They're dog water. You could put them in the Central Division where the Red Wings are just as bad, and the Red Wings wouldn't be in last. You could put the Sabres in the West Division, even though it's not even possible. You could put them in the West Division. They would still be last because they won't be able to beat the Coyotes, Ducks, and Sharks, all teams who stink. And if the Bruins lose their first matchup against the Buffalo Sabres, that should already the Bruins have played 23. They're almost at the halfway point here, people. 23 of a 56-game schedule. You're already almost at the halfway point. Yeah, the Bruins have been on the road a lot. They had to go out to Lake Tahoe to play the flippin' Flyers. So, yeah, you can say the Bruins have done a lot of traveling around. Sure, they're fatigued from the traveling. Other than Lake Tahoe, how far are you really going? Washington, D.C. is not that far. Pittsburgh and Philadelphia aren't that far. New York and the Islanders, they're literally a 3-hour train ride. 3.5 hour train ride away. That's not bad. You haven't even played Buffalo yet, and they're not that far away. Now, look, this is a normal season, and the Bruins had one West Coast trip here. You know, another week later, they had to go out to Colorado, and next year, say Seattle, and they're out in Vancouver, and then they're fine. Fine, you can use that excuse then. But to use that excuse now, shut up. Just shut up. All right, Bruins are playing the New York Rangers tonight. So, Panarin is back with the Rangers tonight. The Bruins are back home for a little bit. But the Bruins have a lot of home games coming up too, so that's nothing to really worry too much about. So, Tuukka Rask is out again tonight. He's missing the second straight game because it looks like Rask tweaked his back on Sunday night against the Devils. The shutout loss to the Devils, and Tuukka Rask played out exceptionally well that night. Deserved a better fate. But it's also this too. Carlo's going to be out for a while. Jake DeBrusk is back on the ice after sitting a night ago. If you're a guy like Jake DeBrusk, David Krejci, and a bunch of other guys too, I'm popping up the roster right now. If you're a guy like Bergeron, Pastrnak, Marchand, and some of the third line guys who are producing, you're fine. But if you're a guy like DeBrusk, Krejci, Corrali, Wagner, I don't know where the hell Chris Wagner's been. Your guy like John Moore. I'd even put in Kevin Miller in that conversation, and maybe even a Matt Grzelcyk, Connor Clifton. Get your heads out of your butts before you're shipped out of here. David Krejci, he should have been shipped out of here a couple years ago, to be brutally honest. But if you want someone to play with David Krejci on that second line and be able to consistently score and help Krejci, trade DeBrusk. Trade Jake DeBrusk. If you need defensive help, I said this last week and I'm going to say it again until I'm blue in the face. Go out and get Oliver Ekman-Larsson from the Arizona Coyotes. Get him out of that hellhole that is called Arizona. Bring him here to a championship caliber team that is the Bruins. Get yourself a second line scorer that can play with David Krejci. May get Krejci's head out of his butt too, because his head's always up his butt 25% through the season. It's even longer this year. It always takes David Krejci 25 games to get going. David Krejci, 14 games is equivalent to 25 this year. Let's go. So, anyway, that's my Bruins rant. When we come back, the Celtics, they are on the rise. The Celtics are back from the All-Star break to take on the Nets tonight. Breakdowns going on with the season, and the NBA trade deadline is 2 weeks away. What options are available out there for the Celtics trade-wise? We're going to talk about it next. You're watching TitleTown Throwdown on all sports fan-based network platforms. And we are back here. It is TitleTown Throwdown. I am Nick LeBlanc. All right, so the Celtics, they are heading here. Trade deadline's a couple weeks away, but the Celtics, they've played a little bit better basketball recently. The Celtics are actually able to get some offensive rebounds, something that they have had trouble with this season, and they also had trouble with in the bubble last year in Orlando. But the Celtics, though, they need a lot of depth. And we talked about this in length a couple weeks ago and more last week. The Celtics need a big man. They need some type of point guard that can help alleviate some of the pressure off of both Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. He's still out there. I want the Celtics to try to go out and get Isaiah Thomas. Will Danny Ainge do it? Probably not, even though, personally, I would like to see that. So, what do the Celtics realistically need? Well, they need a big man. That's pretty obvious. Tristan Thompson, everyone thought he was going to do well. No. Tristan Thompson has not worked out here. I want to see more of Taco Fall again in these games, but Brad Stevens is reluctant to get him in there, which I mean, it's fair. Taco is only a second-year player, still trying to figure out the NBA. But the dude is 7 feet tall. Like, all he has to do is just, all Taco Fall has to do is just stand in front of a bucket and do this. That's all he has to do. He's 7 feet tall. The hoop's like what? 7.5 feet tall? Taco Fall will not have to do won't have to do too much. All right. He doesn't have to do too much. But the Celtics still need more of a big man. So there are options out there. Christian Wood of the Houston Rockets. He is available out there, even though he is in the lineup tonight when the Rockets take on the Sacramento Kings. But there's an option. LaMarcus Aldridge and the Spurs, they're parting ways, so there's another guy out there potentially for the Celtics. The Celtics have a lot of options out there, not only on the trade market, but out in the free agent market. They lost out on Blake Griffin, who, of course, went to the Brooklyn Nets. This is almost like the Golden State Warriors type thing. No, the Nets, only difference is the Warriors actually have a competent coach. I don't believe the Nets do. And I'm going to say this, mark my words. If the Brooklyn Nets are out in the first round of the NBA playoffs, I'm going to laugh my flipping butt off because of how inept they are. Now look, when the Celtics take on the Nets tonight, no Durant, no Blake Griffin. For whatever reason. You're still down James Harden and Kyrie Irving, two of the quote-unquote big four. I think Blake Griffin he's still played okay in recent years, but I think he's not as good as he was when he was with the Clippers. Durant and Harden, they played well together when they were in OKC. I think Durant played really good when he was with Golden State. Harden played exceptionally well when he was in Houston. Kyrie, always been a great player. I just find Kyrie Irving to be extremely annoying. He gives me an aneurysm. But, between both. But if you gave me a choice between either Griffin, try to be in a room with either Kyrie, Griffin, Harden, or Durant. I'll take Durant, Harden, or Griffin any day of the week. I'll punch Kyrie Irving in the throat if I had to. Just the way Kyrie left here, it just did not sit well with me. Because, I don't know, he says one thing in September, saying, oh, I want to be here. Team struggling a little bit. Reporters like, oh, what are your plans? And then it says, ask me July 1st. When you hear a player say one thing, then turn around and say another thing, you kind of know he's saying, yeah, bleep this team, I'm gone. And did anyone really think Kyrie Irving was really going to stay here in Boston? No. His first year, he battled injuries, but he was really good. And I thought that, the tandem of him, Al Horford, Gordon Hayward, Tatum, Brown, Smart, I thought that those 6-7 guys, they were going to be good. And I thought the Celtics had a legit chance to win the NBA championship in 2019 if that group stuck together in 2020. The Celtics could have went on a run. But now Kyrie's gone. Horford's gone. Hayward's gone. Marcus Smart's still there, but Smart's hurt at the moment. But he's close to coming back. Thankfully, Romeo Langford, he practiced the other day. But he's still got Tatum and Brown, who, again, are putting up exceptional numbers individually. But team-wise, of the few Celtics games that I've actually tuned into and watched for a period of time this year, I've noticed that both Brown and Tatum can be ball hogs. They're not passing the ball around like they should be. They pass around the ball a little bit more, which I think they've gotten better of the course of the last couple of games. Pass the ball more a little bit. Great. Smart is starting tonight. Thank you, Devin, for telling me that. But anywho, the Celtics team needs to start playing together as a collective unit. It's the only way you're going to win in the NBA today. All right. 10 years ago, a guy like Kobe Bryant could just put his whole team on his back and carry that team to a championship. No problem. Easy. LeBron James, he can easily do it himself too. Problem is, he just needs a couple extra guys around him to help him up, i.e. a Chris Bosh, i.e. a Dwayne Wade. He needed those guys around him to not only make him better, but to make the team better too. That's how LeBron won his first 2 titles. I think in Cleveland, he carried his team on his back and on all of that 2015-16 team, and it was LeBron James who carried that Cavaliers team to their first and only title that they have. Last year, it was a combination of both Davis and LeBron playing well together, and I think the whole Lakers team, knowing how LeBron plays, knowing and how he is so competitive, and also a year off of not playing in the playoffs at all for LeBron James probably did him some good. He was able to rest the last part of the season, not have to worry about playing into June. It gave LeBron more time to rehab, and it worked. Tatum Brown, yeah, missing playoffs is never ideal. You never want to do that either, but it is a good way to try to wake up a little bit, smell the roses, and okay, we can recover from our injuries this way and that way, and call it a day. So Celtics, they begin their final 30-game stretch this season of the year tonight. They are in Brooklyn to take on the Nets. As I said, no Durant, no Blake Griffin. Marcus Smart is coming back for the Celtics tonight, which is already a good thing. So either way, right here, here's where the Celtics sit in the standings. The 4-game win streak that they're riding on, 19-17. That is good for 4th in the Eastern Conference. And believe this or not, they're only 3 games behind the Milwaukee Bucks, 4.5 behind the Brooklyn Nets for the 2nd spot in the East, and they're 5 games out of first place from the Sixers. So, if the season were to end tonight, and again, this is how the NBA is doing their playoff system this year, the top 10 teams made it, then seeds 7 through 10. They play in a play-in tournament. I personally believe that is absolutely stupid. If you ask me, that's completely and utterly stupid. But anyway, here are the top 10 teams in the Eastern Conference that could make the playoffs. Sixers, Nets, Bucks, Celtics. The Knicks are in 5th place, who are a game above 500. The Heat in 6th at 500. And then here's where you can all start laughing about how pitiful the NBA Eastern Conference is. Hornets in 7th at 17-18. Raptors 17-19. The Bulls at 16-18. The Pacers at 16-19. Why does the NBA Eastern Conference stink? Again, the Celtics, they made the playoffs a couple years ago going, 40-42? In Brad Stevens' 2nd year? Yeah, they got their butt handed to them by the Cavaliers, but that was nothing new. Right? In the West, it's much more difficult. Right? Jazz in 1st place. The Suns in 2nd. Lakers in 3rd. Wow. Clippers in 4th. Blazers in 5th. Nuggets in 6th. Spurs. Mavericks. Grizzlies. Warriors round out the top 10. What do all 10 of those teams have in common? They are above 500. So, look, was I ever worried about the Celtics not making the playoffs? No, because their conference is weak. But you still want the Celtics to play well, so that way you can beat a team like the Sixers again, like the Brooklyn Nets, like the Bucks. Get your revenge on the Miami Heat. If you play the New York Knicks right now, the Celtics will be playing the New York Knicks in the first round of the NBA playoffs. If you even lose a game to the New York Knicks, smack you upside the head. It's the Knicks. They stink. The 72-game stretch. Yeah, the Knicks are off to their best start in like 5 years. Woohoo! Whoop-de-doo! It's still the Knicks. Come on, man. All right. When we come back from break, a lot of Patriots news. The Patriots have a plan A at quarterback, but what's the plan B? And a whole bunch of other NFL free agency news to go on. TitleTown Throwdown on all sports fan-based network platforms. Snap Down Wrestling with Coach Tommy Lynch. You can catch him every Monday night at 9 p.m. Tommy goes over. Coach Lynch will go over everything that's going on in Rhode Island State and Rhode Island wrestling. The season, it brings on various coaches and athletes, and even has a referee segment. All right, so now we're on to some Patriot news. The Patriots, they have a plan A at quarterback. Who is that plan A? It is none other than former Patriots backup quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, do I think Jimmy G is coming back to the Patriots? 75% of me says no, but I will give it a 25% chance. It all depends on the type of deal that Bill Belichick is able to offer John Lynch and San Francisco. Because look, remember, the Niners, they signed Jimmy Garoppolo to what was it, a 4-year, $135 million contract back in 2017, 18. So they're committed to Jimmy Garoppolo financially, but are they really committed? Now, what would it take for Bill Belichick to reacquire the services of his former backup? Well, I would say possibly the 15th overall pick, picking them, a second rounder potentially. So there are a lot of Belichick has to sweeten the deal. Maybe if you throw in a Stephon Gilmore in that deal, all right, you're barking up the right tree, you're on the right topic. It will really help improve that Niners secondary with the addition of Gilmore. It gives you a little bit of stability at the quarterback position in Garoppolo. However, if you do bring a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo back, get him receivers. And that is something that General Manager Bill Belichick, who has complete total roster control of this team, has lacked in each of the last 3 off seasons. He lacked it after Super Bowl 52. He lacked it severely after Super Bowl 53. And he severely lacked it last off season. So, what is, and apparently, according to rumors, that the Patriots plan to be very active in receivers, tight ends, quarterbacks. Not very few good quarterbacks left out there. All right. I'm still hearing people say, oh, I'm still seeing trade scenarios that, you know, the Texans trade Watson to the Patriots, and the Texans would get Jimmy Garoppolo. The Niners would get draft picks. I'm going to say this again. I don't know how many more times I have to say it, but I'll keep saying it until I am blue in the face. Deshaun Watson is not coming to the New England Patriots. There is no way in hell. No way in hell that Nick Caserio, the former assistant general manager of the Patriots, is going to trade a top 5 quarterback like Deshaun Watson to you. Why do I say that? Because he wanted to leave here a year ago. And you blocked him from that. Why would he, if you didn't bother to scratch his back when he wanted to leave here in 2020, what makes you think he's going to scratch your back in 2021 and give you Deshaun Watson? Enough. Breaking news here, and appreciate my producer Devin today for giving me this. Mark Ingram signs with the Houston Texans. Good running back option for the Texans. They absolutely need a running back, and Ingram, he has a good dual threat back. Will that be enough to get Deshaun Watson to play for the Texans this year? No. If you can, look, Watson said that he's willing to sit out. The Texans aren't dead in the water here with Watson yet. If you can get Watson top 2 good receivers and beef up that offensive line, then maybe, just maybe, you might have a chance to get Deshaun Watson to suit up for your team. Now, going back to the Patriots, Jimmy Garoppolo. Is Garoppolo an option? He is. But you have to give up an arm and a leg for him because you didn't give up an arm and a leg for the Niners to acquire him. All the Niners gave you was a second-round pick because typical Belichick undervalues a guy saying, oh, well, I got this guy in the second round. I'll trade him for a second-rounder. Garoppolo's worth a first-round pick. You could have traded Garoppolo to the Cleveland Browns and had a top 10 pick in 2000. What year did Baker get drafted in? 2018? Was it? You could have had the top pick or a top 5, top 10 pick in 2018 if you traded Jimmy Garoppolo for a first rounder. Easily. Because the Niners had a top 10 pick. The Browns were going to be in the top. We're going to be in the top 10. Wasn't it 2017 that the Browns went 0-16? Wasn't it 2017? I believe so. Anyway, though, the Niners had a top 10 pick. The Browns had the unanimous first round pick. You could have drafted Brady. You could have drafted Baker Mayfield. He sits behind Tom Brady for 2 years. Brady still probably leaves. You bring in Mayfield. You got stability at quarterback. Is Baker Mayfield the best quarterback ever? No, obviously not. But with Baker Mayfield giving you a little bit of stability, and you could have still competed in the AFC this year and probably made the playoffs? Yeah, Yeah. Instead, you settle for a second-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo. Tom Brady goes bye-bye. You do absolutely nothing. You think Jarrett Stidham's ready. You bring in Brian Hoyer as a veteran presence. Stidham's not even close to ready. Brian Hoyer is a career backup. You bring in Cam Newton, who at the time I thought was a good option. Then what happens? Cam, trash. Stidham, trash. Hoyer, dumpster fire. Just Brian Hoyer, he doesn't know how many timeouts he has in a half. No timeout. 6 seconds left. He gets sacked. You don't have timeouts, you moron. He had no timeouts, you dummy. That's why Brian Hoyer is a career backup. Why I feel Jarrett Stidham is going to be a career backup. Cam Newton, I don't even know if he can play in the NFL anymore. Now look, if you don't get Garoppolo, and you don't get at least a Kyle Trask from Florida to try to build up a guy with number 15 overall, if you trade the 15th overall pick, which I wouldn't even be surprised if Bill Belichick does, you might as well re-sign Cam Newton and settle for another 7-9, 6-10 season, because that's what's going to happen. Now, if you bring back Newton, he builds up his arm strength. You actually get someone or people who can catch the ball. Get a reliable tight end. Then maybe you can go 10-6 and possibly make the playoffs. But no. You need to draft a quarterback this draft. You need to get a wide receiver this draft. You need to get a tight end this draft. And those should be within the first 3 picks that you have in the NFL draft. You're saying at 15 overall, 33 overall, and then you got pick number 80-something in the 3rd round. If you do not use your first 3 picks on any of those guys, you might as well keep N'Keal Harry. You might as well keep Jacoby Myers, keep Damari Bird, keep Ryan Izzo, Devin Asasi, or CC, whatever the hell his last name is pronounced. Bring back Cam Newton and settle for an 8-8, 7-9, 6-10 mediocre season. And then watch Tom Brady win another Super Bowl, and he just continues to slap you in the face and gives you the bird. That's exactly what Tom Brady did this past year. Led the Buccaneers to the Super Bowl, flipped the bird to Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick does nothing. Brady wins back-to-back Super Bowls. It's a double bird from Brady. So Bill Belichick, as a Patriots fan, and Patriots fans all around the world, wherever you may be, we have one request. Don't let your dog draft a player, first off. Actually, you got $66 million of cap space available. Use it. Use it. Bring back James White. We need James White. If you let James White walk and he goes to the Bucs, it's another win for Tom Brady. Get receivers. Get a reliable quarterback. Get a reliable tight end. And you got options out there. Kyle Rudolph is available. Hunter Henry is available. John Brown from the Bills who got released, he is available. Offensive line, you got 2 guys available. The Chiefs just cut Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz today. You can improve that offensive line. You can improve your tight end. You can improve your wide receivers. And you can improve the most important position on offense, and that is the quarterback position. You have a chance to rebuild this offense completely in one off season because the pieces are out there. But if you don't try it, you're going to be left with a mediocre offense, an offense that ranked last in passing yards behind the Baltimore Ravens, who 80% of their playbook is running plays. Lamar Jackson rarely throws. Jackson had the least amount of throwing attempts in the NFL this past season, yet he still threw for more yards than Cam Newton. He still did. And that is sad. When a team in which 80% of the playbook is designed for the run, and your playbook is 50-50, 60-40, a team that barely passes the ball passes for more passing yards and more touchdowns for you, that is 100% pitiful. Now, whether you can blame GM Belichick for that, go right ahead. I'm all for it. Blame the play calling and Josh McDaniels? Sure, I'm all for it. You want to blame the poor execution of the offense? Fine, let's do it. I'm all for it. But one thing that agitated me, though, too, this whole past season, is that Cam Newton was blamed for a majority of the losses. Now, did Cam have a factor in it? Absolutely, yes. But was Cam to blame entirely for the losses? No. Cam would throw the ball beautifully, and what would a guy like N'Keal Harry do? Drop. Jacoby Myers? He caught tough passes, but easy passes? Drop. Tight ends. Oh my God, we have a tight end? This team has a tight end? Really? I didn't see it. Lacrosse was a ghost. Izzo opted out. Assisi was a ghost. So again, before I get into other NFL free agency news, because a lot's happened this week already, need a receiver, need a tight end, need a quarterback. I'm not saying you get a quarterback in round number one. If you don't get a quarterback in round number one, that's fine. Get him in the second round. Because I'm going to tell you this. No team in the history of the National Football League is ever going to find a 6th round draft pick in Tom Brady again. Tom Brady is a rare quarterback. Drafted 6th round, 199th overall. He could have easily been cut in 2000. Easily. Brady could have easily been cut, been a career backup. Belichick could have been fired from the Patriots back in 2003, 2004. Patriots could possibly have no Super Bowls. And we wouldn't be talking about this. We'd be talking about who's actually going to be the quarterback for this team. Drew Bledsoe was for a while. So before Brady signed on, Bledsoe signed a 10-year contract with the Patriots to be the starter. Bledsoe gets hurt. Brady takes that starting job by the horns and never lets it go. But one thing is this, though. Tom Brady never got a deal longer than 6 years. He never got a deal longer than 6 years. Never. Drew Bledsoe got cut in year 4 of a 10-year contract because he was the backup. He went to Buffalo and performed pretty well, and then he retired. But if Bill Belichick thinks that he can find another quarterback in the late rounds and say round numbers 5, 6, or 7, dude, I want whatever you're smoking. Whatever you're smoking, whatever you're shotting down in your bow down on the tape, and then whatever vitamins you're feeding your dog. I want that, because if you think you can find another Brady in round number 6, you're mistaken, and you should just retire as a general manager or surrender your GM duties, because you clearly have no idea what you're doing. And I love Bill Belichick as a coach. I still think he can still win as a coach. But as a GM, though, Bill, just, if you don't do anything this offseason, surrender your roster control rights, sign an actual GM, Robert Kraft, and let's move on here. Because I can't take it anymore. Build the GM. Can't take it. All right, other NFL news. The Dallas Cowboys. They lock up franchise quarterback Dak Prescott to a 4-year, $175 million deal. And look, well-deserved? Yeah, absolutely. Prescott needed it. Prescott deserved this. But Prescott is getting $75 million in the first year of it. Now, look, am I saying that Dak Prescott is a bad quarterback? No. But what? 2 playoff appearances? 1-2 in the playoffs? this Cowboys team hasn't reached the NFC title game since their last Super Bowl appearance. And you toss out $175 million to a guy who can get you there, but he also probably can't either. A lot of people thought Tony Romo could get the Cowboys there multiple times. Romo couldn't even get past out of the wild card round or the divisional round. Same thing still going on with the Cowboys. It's either they make the playoffs and you know what's going to happen to them, or they miss the playoffs. And sad thing is, too, the Cowboys play in a winnable division. The NFC East is the most winnable division in all of football. The chance you just swap the Chiefs and the Cowboys, have the Cowboys playing the AFC West and the Chiefs playing the NFC East. The Chiefs would have a field day with Washington, New York, and Philly. The Chiefs would go 6-0 in that division every year without even trying. Patrick Mahomes only had to play in those 6 games. That's how bad the NFC East is. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, they're already talking contract extension. As Brady said, he wants to play past 45 now. Is Tom Brady trying to pull off a Jamie Moyer and play till he's 50? Even though Brady still has some zip on his arm rather than Jamie Moyer did? Yeah, 2 different sports. Moyer played baseball, Brady's in football, but you can still compare them though. Jamie Moyer, pitcher, Brady, quarterback. They're both throwing a ball. Only difference is Brady's only throwing a football 30 to 40 times a game, while Jamie Moyer had to throw about 100 pitches per game. That's different. Still though, the fact that Brady and the Bucs are already talking contract extension, it's just straight fear in the NFL. Tom Brady's not going away anytime soon. He's not going away anytime soon. All right. I want to wrap up the show this week, as today marks 1 year that we've been in this pandemic, and 1 year ago today, every sports league, baseball, hockey, and the NBA around this time last year shut down because of the COVID-19 pandemic. It was 1 year ago today that MLB spring training shut down. The NHL regular season shut down. And last year, the Bruins were having such a terrific season. Celtics are having a terrific season themselves in the shutdown. So where are we now a year later? Well, a lot's changed. Some restrictions are being eased finally. Year ago we were told, you're not allowed to go to Fenway Park or TD Garden or this, that, and the fourth until we say so. March 23rd, fans returned to the TD Garden to cheer on both the Bruins and Celtics. Yeah, 12% capacity, but who cares? Live people will be in the buildings. April 1st, Red Sox opening day. 4,500 people get to go into the ballpark. We've come a long way in the last year, and we're only going to improve. The vaccines are rolling out here. We're closer and closer and closer to packing up Fenway Park to yell at the Red Sox as to why they're not hitting home runs. Yell at Nathan Eovaldi saying, "You stink, go back on the disabled list." We're close to getting back to the TD Garden, to yelling at the Bruins, say, "Shoot the puck, shoot." Going back to the TD Garden, trying to egg on Brad Stevens to put Taco Fall in the game. We're getting the one thing, though, that needs to happen, though. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers return to Gillette Stadium this upcoming season. Whenever that game may be, Gillette Stadium has to be at 100% capacity. It has to be. The GOAT. The last time the Patriots played a game in front of fans at Gillette Stadium was when they lost to the Tennessee Titans in the wildcard round, and guess who the quarterback was? Tom Brady. Empty stadium. Here, Cam Newton's here, empty stadium, but again, we're in the apocalypse. We still are. But when Tom Brady returns for the first and probably the only time in his career as a visitor, Gillette Stadium has to be filled at 100% capacity. All 66,000 seats at Gillette Stadium have to have some type of fanny in that seat. That stadium has to be filled. It has to be filled. All right. And one last announcement here. And this involves this show right here. All right. First off, is TitleTown Throwdown going away? No. Am I going away? Hell no. You can't get rid of me that easily. However, though, next week we are launching our brand new alternate site called Naked Sports. It is like a Barstool Sports type of thing. And so TitleTown Throwdown is packing their bags from the Sports Fanbase Network Rhode Island website and moving over to the Naked Sports website, where it is going to be an unfiltered website, so I can say whatever I want, however I want it. Is anything going to change with me? No, because for the 20 to 30 shows that I've already done, you'll have all seen my craziness and how I can get into a rant about certain things so easily. So the littlest thing can set me off. But that's what makes me me. You can't get rid of me that easily. My personality is going to be the same. The show's going to be the same, just unfiltered. And we're going to have some fun with it. All right. Those were the big announcements I wanted to make this week. I just want to thank my good buddy Devin, who is joining the SFBNRI family already, the ever-growing family. Want to thank you, my good friend, for producing here today. Same time next week, people, at 4 p.m. Again, I got a lot of stuff going on still. I had to re-alter my schedule, but don't worry, I'll be back at 7 p.m. I'll be back at that 7 p.m. time slot soon. So don't you worry. But for now, later on tonight, don't forget to tune into MMA Complete with Zach Drapo. He will go over everything that's going on in the UFC and what Dana White has to offer for the upcoming weeks, or even what's going on this weekend. And Zach does a fantastic thing with the UFCs, especially the UFC fight nights. All right. I'm Nick LeBlanc. I will talk to you next week. This is TitleTown Throwdown on all sports fan-based network platforms. Have a good rest of your Thursday.